So, welcome to week 8 of Visionary Creativity. We are on the expansion code. Today, I'm sharing prosperity codes with you. And I've just recapped the past month, which was a real elevator. So, if you really want to kind of reflect, if you find yourself having more spaciousness this week, this long weekend, really continue to dial into the ways that you're elevating, the ways that your offers are elevating, the way that your pricing is elevating, and just elevation from like a body, mind, spirit perspective is really what's coming through for me. So I know when my outer world elevates, my inner world elevates. I know when my inner world elevates, my outer world elevates. So we talked about this on some of the breakthrough sessions, but some of us like to access from within, actually. So when you elevate within, then that goes ripples outward. But a lot of times we can even be really conscious about like our physical space, how that's elevating, and we can work from the outside in. It actually was featured in Sovereign Magazine last July's issue, and that was like the theme of the issue. And the interesting thing is they were talking a lot about working from the inside out, but I also framed it as work from the outside in. So you can kind of play with that because we can upgrade in like on all levels and every dimension. And that is how I like to really see life. But I want to start with the hot seat today, which just means the spotlights where you get a chance to kind of talk about more what's important to you, what's expanding for you right now, and then any challenges that you're having. Because a big part, obviously, of being an entrepreneur is that things are not always going to be just in life. Like we can't just be like on and up all the time. I mean, that would be like amazing, but there will always be like dips. So who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Brienne.
Um, I guess my biggest elevation this week has been the expansion of my garden, and I'm super excited about that. It's something that I've been wanting to do for quite a while, and finally I just said fine, and it was backbreaking, but it's done now. So I'm super happy. Just waiting for hot weather to plant my garden.
I'm just reading the comments. Can you send us a picture of your garden in the Telegram so that we can like really, be excited about that with you?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, of
We can
course.
celebrate that. We can be in that prosperity code of celebration.
Sure. Um, the I think that my biggest challenge is I don't have a lot of money coming in from sales. I have lots of people that
Mm.
almost do,
Hmm.
but then it's not, they don't go through with it. So it's
I
like,
love that. I
what
love
the heck is that about?
Okay, so I don't love that, but I love that because it means that there's something that we can like really look at here. I love the question, like, what the heck is that about? So, walk me through how I have two questions right now when you say that. So, what are your daily income generating activities really looking like? I always say take at least like two a day on average. I mean, they don't have to take more than 30 minutes or 20 minutes of your day, but what are your daily income generating activities look like? So first I want to look at that. And then I want to actually look at your sales process. Like, what does the sales flow look like?
Okay, so daily income process.
Mhm.
I guess the biggest thing is uh, posting my artwork on social media. Um,
I love this, and this is a good one. Later today, when I give the expansion training, I'm going to go into practical, tactical things that you can do if you want, like, not to have to post every day on social media. So, posting on social media, amazing. But if you
yeah.
want alternatives to posting on social media, I'm going to share that. I think your social media strategy, though, Fran, is really good. So I would never suggest drop it. So now that
Yeah.
we know that you're doing an income generating activity of posting on social media, what are other activities that you do on different days?
Well, of course, making art every day, every day, every day.
I
And
love that, but I don't consider that an income generating activity.
yeah, I guess planning. planning and making and doing things for the art show in October.
I should take that back. Making art is an income generating activity because you're making a product, and being in that vibration is definitely sending something really positive out to the world. Like, so I kind of take that back, but like from if I'm just being super practical, like taking the steps, like you said, for your artist, organizing your artist group, right? That you're going to be,
Yeah.
yeah. If we want to get like really like laser focus, every time you make an offer, or send an email, that's an income generating activity. So it's May 22nd. Have you sent any emails this month to your list?
I haven't.
Have you gotten any more leads onto your email list? So have you gotten like any more people, like any more signups onto your list?
No.
Okay. So there's two things you have to do every single day. And you can say, Hilary, I don't want to hear this. I'm only going to do it every week. And that's completely fine with me if you do it every week, because doing it every week will keep you in business much longer than, if you don't do it. But you have to get leads. So you have to have new people coming into your world if you want to have a
Mhm.
sustainable business. And then you have to make offers. And that means make a way for people to buy from you. And you can make the offer online. You can make it to your list. You can have your work in a gallery where a salesperson is making the offer for you every single day. But you've got to have somebody that's literally doing the sales piece of your business if you want money to come in. Because if we don't have the focus on the sales, and this is what I find with like a lot of artists, this is what I find with a lot of energy healers. Energy healers, they love to be in the energetics, so they would love to just do the energy work all week. But the problem with that is that energy work alone won't keep us in a sustainable business, just as painting in our studios alone won't keep us in a sustainable business model. And so anytime I want to make more money, then I make more offers or I get more leads. Now, a way to do that, if you're like, I'm really busy, Hilary, and I'm working because I know your pieces are labor intensive, they take a lot of time. Another way to do that is to run Facebook ads and to start putting your work in front of more eyes and more audience. And from each sale, maybe you're taking like setting aside a budget, to run ads to put your work in front of like more people. So we have to start thinking of like ways to get more eyes on your work. Another way is to have your work in like a publication. I went to a newsstand over the weekend. So I was really like living like my single life like for 11 days, right? Like not really like a single life, but like what is it like to not have to have any responsibilities? Not any, but like not the same level of responsibility. So me and my dog were going to farmers market. We were going to the newsstand. I was buying magazines. Like I was really in a state of bliss and celebration because I was just enjoying. But there were so many magazines. They were so beautiful at the newsstand. And I have one on my desk. The other one is out in the living room right now. But the one on my desk is interesting. I think it's really interesting to think about for the artist, but this might inspire something for Marie as well. But California homes, and every single one is like a different gorgeous design build from a successful design company. Every single room has a gorgeous piece of art in it. And that really got me thinking about how many interior designers are constantly looking for art to put on the walls and then to be featured in these magazines. So if another way to get more leads and to make more offers is to either have your work in a magazine or publication or to reach out directly to these design firms. Now, why did I buy the California magazine and not the Elle Decor that has, decorations from all over the world? Because it's going to be much easier to reach out to a designer right here in Santa Barbara or right here in Malibu and say, hey, I'm a local artist and I saw your work in California at Homes and I think it's beautiful. I design contemporary paintings. Would you like to, see some of my work? So we have to be making offers. And if you don't have time for that, I totally get it, but it is a problem that we're going to have to solve because we're going to need to find someone then to make offers on your behalf. whether
I
that
would
be
act I
publicists.
would actually love that.
I know that you love that. And so I know that I've offered to do that for you, a little like a package that I've sent you regarding that.
Yeah.
I know that, yeah, that there's, PR publicists that can do that for you. And so if it's just always, for entrepreneurship, we're always balancing our time and like how much time and effort we have to put into something, and then how much money we can allocate or spend on the things that we don't want to do. And so, yeah, I just want to kind of put that on the table, these things to let it like simmer because your work is amazing. I just want more eyes on it. I want more leads coming into your world. And the training, I'm going to talk about that a little bit. And I feel like there's going to be so much to unpack in this training. This training might last like for this week and next week, right? Because there's a lot to cover. I'd rather not cover things superficially. I'd rather be able to deep dive with you guys. What's coming through for you when I'm saying all of this?
It's like, yes.
Yeah. And it's not, it's just like the acknowledgement is just going to propel you forward and forward and forward. And you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to reach out to people every Sunday night. Okay. Or I'm going to have Hillary reach out to people every Sunday night, the package that she sent me. Or I'm going to go and I'm going to just reach out to magazines and I'm going to say, look, I have an incredible, stunning artwork. Do you want to do an artist spotlight? Do you want to do an artist feature of my work? Um, because that will generate instant sales, instant. Like if it's like a big publication. Okay. I have the AC on. It's not even doing anything in here. It's hot in LA. It's kind of hot today, right, Marie? I know
Mhm.
you're over by the beach, but
Yeah, I turned my air conditioner on last night, by the way. Yesterday, I turned my air conditioner on. So it's been hot. Like there's no wind.
yeah, there's no wind right
Yeah.
where I
So that's
am.
what makes it hot. So I totally get it. Yeah.
You guys will laugh. I've got my heater on beside me.
And Emma has the
Chicago,
perfect
it's 54
In my
degrees.
opinion, she has the perfect weather. Fran, I know June in Canada is super nice. Like I've been to Canada in June to
Yeah.
Toronto. It's so beautiful from what I remember.
Yeah, and it's only 70 degrees right now here, but I think it's just no wind and I
Is
don't
that
know
what
what
it
it
is?
is, but it's hot.
For you, but I bet where I am, which is by the art museums, I bet it's like 10 degrees. I bet
More
it's
probably.
a big
Yeah.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it might be like 80 here.
Yeah.
Okay. So Fran, do you have anything like what did this spark? Is there one thing that you're like, oh, I want to do that. I want to have my work. So when I was looking at the magazines, I saw that magazine. It's called Women Who Create.
Yeah,
It's
I like that.
studio. I love it. It's a beautiful magazine and it's studio tours of all creators.
Yeah,
I know I've mentioned this
Somerset.
magazine to you before because I could totally see you being interviewed and your studio being toured and your artist group being talked about. That's a really good magazine. Another really good magazine is Sovereign. And this one you do have to pay to be in it, but I find their fee really, really reasonable. And I just think it's really reasonable. But there's a lot of bigger magazines than Sovereign that are looking for content, and they're looking for your content. And it was strategic that we elevated your website, we've got your media kit. And
Yeah,
we talked about high value collaboration. So it's been like a strategic journey to think about, okay, maybe I'm going to be in this next. And then when I opened the magazine on Facebook and I started flipping through it to my work and show everybody, right? It's just
yeah,
another level of social proof. It's another level of people jumping into your world.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
That's actually the one that really, really appeals to me.
I think that one, yeah, sounds like it would be really good for you. The other thing is, what do you think about maybe just emailing your list and giving them a little taste of what you've been up to? Like it's short. It can be short, not all emails. Sometimes when I write a shorter email, because I send long emails, like people actually respond to my shorter emails more because it's a pattern interrupt. I'm not doing the same thing that I always do. So they're like, oh, she wrote like a paragraph instead of like a letter, you know? So you could do something really short and sweet and like, hey, this piece is about to become available. Do you want to be on the, do you want to be notified when I put it out there? Something like that. This is what I'm working on. It's going to be available soon. Would you like to have the first opportunity to have this? Something like that. I always do. You'll see this pattern a lot in my emails if you're on my list. I do a lot of storytelling because storytelling hooks people in. They're like interested in what you're doing. And then I do an offer. You can always just do an offer email, but I wouldn't do offer email, offer email, because then it starts to become just too repetitive. They don't hear it. But if you've been doing a lot of storytelling, then just send them an offer. Sometimes I do the 11. I was telling Marie about the 11-word email where I say, "Hey, this is happening. Are you going to do this?" Question mark. And you'll see me do it. And it's like, she just sent a sentence out. What is that? Well, guess what happens when I send just a sentence out? People are like
Like,
clicking like crazy. They're like, what is that? What's she doing? What is she talking about? Because it's unfinished and your brain is actually trying to finish it. Your brain is like, what is happening next? Tell us. I saw a coach yesterday. She created this graphic. It's like half her face. And there's like a couple words on it. And it's like so mysterious that even I was like, what is this? And then I saw the comments. I'm in, I want this, I'm doing this. What is this? Did I miss something? Did you just release something? What's happening? So people started getting really confused and really curious. And she had 27 I'm in comments because she's done a pattern disrupt. And so this is where we get to really tune into our visionary creativity and really like apply it, like do something that's nobody's doing, that you're not even seeing people doing, because that's what captures people's interest. I'm reading, I started reading the Rick Rubin book, I think it's called A Creative Act. I'm like kind of obsessed with Rick Rubin right now. He's like he's kind of an old man with like long white hair and a beard and kind of looks like a monk. And he is a creative coach for like the Beastie Boys, and a lot of musicians, a lot of huge musicians have found their success by working with him. And he meditates and he channels, and he's just pretty interesting, right? He's so interesting that, in fact, he's garnering my attention by being so fascinating. So we want to think about that in the context of you and your brand. How can you be so interesting and so fascinating? And this is a sales piece I want to talk about, the sales flow. And I hope this is useful for everybody. That's why I'm talking so long to Fran right now, because a lot's coming through. But the sales flow, there's a new prosperity code that I want to share. That is, when you get into your feminine sales flow and it's like less masculine and you're just kind of inviting people in, oh, do you want to take a peek at this? So that's what the woman was doing. That was like had the mysterious photo and had a few words of text. And then she's like, oh, you want to take a peek? Go look over here. What happens is when you put yourself into the more of like I don't want to say submissive, but um, non like dominant mode, when you put yourself into a softer sales flow, then what happens is you put them into the dominant mode. And what happens is when the buyer's in the dominant mode, guess what they do? They're like, can I pay you? Can I pay you? That's what happened to me last week after the back end of high value collaborations. And to be honest, this wasn't intentional. I have been really, really busy, and I knew I wanted to launch something off the back end, but I wanted to intuitively feel like what would the group really like? Like what would they really like? And what do they actually really need right now? And I think what they need is like 30 days of like support to like really do it and to really be in the energy of connection and expansion. But I said, hey, I'm going to drop an offer. And because I didn't drop it right away, because I was still, then you guys know you have to go build the sales page, or you can send them a Stripe link, or you can write a paragraph of Google document, right? But you say you're going to send something, okay? And then you don't send it. So guess what started happening? People started messaging me, "Hey, what's high value collabs? Oh, that ran last week. What's quantum collabs? I don't understand. What's the difference? Can you just send me the link?" And then boom, pay in full. Boom, pay in full. So it's like almost like because I'm not really pushing, like say if I started really pushing, guess what they're gonna do? Guess what position the buyer's then gonna be in?
Pull back.
Let me, yeah. And then I have to start kind of really offering it even more and even more. And then the buyer's going to say, oh, so it's naturally they're going to pull back even more. I went over to the art gallery. Maria liked this because Maria's been to the gallery. I was there. I'm really good at art sales. I'm going to be honest because I've sold so much in my lifetime between being a top seller for a theater to selling art in Laguna Beach to now selling art. So I go in there for 2.5 hours every week. And it's pretty much about being accountable, right? Getting to know people, putting yourself out on Main Street for sales, having those conversations, right? So I love it. I love to see what people are buying. I love to watch buyer behavior. And I also do outreach during that time in a bajillion emails. So I just like do it all, right? But what happened was a woman came into the gallery looking for something very specific. And she was gonna buy a gift. But then she started second guessing the gift and feeling like, I don't know if I should get this one or that one. So when you confuse the buyer, they will not buy. When they just start to become extremely confused, like between multiple options, they will not buy. That I've seen it happen a million times. I also used to work at Anthropology like 20 years ago when I did merchandising for them and I did some sales for them. And I saw a guy get so confused about what to buy his girlfriend that he just packed up his wallet and left the store. At Brentwood Art Center, I saw a woman come in ready to drop a bunch of money on summer camps. And I saw the front desk give her 20 different options. She had her wallet out when she walked into the reception. And guess what I watched her do when they gave her like 20 different camp options and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, too much. Yeah.
She took her wallet, she closed it up. She said, "Huh, can you email me this and email me a link?" And ran out the front door because she was so confused. She had no idea what to buy. So when somebody comes to me and they want to buy something from me, I literally like to take the customer by the hand and I like to walk them to the sale. I was selling a piece of art in the gallery the other day, and one of the older artists came in. And I'm going to just say, I don't think she has a lot of sales experience. And I was talking to a client about the work. And the older artist said, "Wow, that's really beautiful. Is it a this? Is it a print? Is it an original? Is it on paper? What kind of color? What da da da? What da 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 da?" I would never start bringing all this up in the middle of a sale. They love the art. They're buying it for a feeling, the feeling that they're going to get from it. They literally do not care. No offense to us artists, because we all know what materials and stuff is going into things. They don't care. It was a beautiful, but loosely painted botanical, and she wanted to buy it for her mother for Mother's Day. That's all she wanted to do. She cared about the gift and how it's going to make somebody feel when she gifted it. She also cared, different buyer that bought a glass vase. It wasn't my work. I sold somebody else's work from me. Bought the vase because her daughter just renovated like a craftsman bungalow in this neighborhood in LA called West Adams. And she said the daughter has all these funky, eclectic things all around the house. And she bought it because she could see her grandchildren in the garden collecting lavender, cutting a rose, and just like the little kid bouquets that they make, and then just popping it into a vase. And so she could see a whole story about how she's going to present this glass blown vase to her daughter this weekend. And then her grandchildren are going to be out in the garden and they're going to be making bouquets and it's going to be so lovely. So it's telling a story. So people buy based on emotion that you create in them a desire that they have, and how it's gonna, if it invites them to tell a larger story about themselves. So whenever you're doing your storytelling, whenever you're marketing, think about, how can I invite this buyer like into a dance where we're telling a story, helping them tell their story and about a desire that they have. The woman that just jumped into quantum collaborations, my offer. I want to apply this to offers too, so it's really clear for people that have offers and courses. She bought right away. She said, "Girl, I already paid in full." Because she was asking me, what's the difference between quantum collab? What's the difference between high value? And I'm like, oh, I don't know what she wants. So I sent her quantum collab. 5 minutes later, I was like, oh, let me just grab the link of high value because I could give her access to this, or she could take it first and then I could, then she could go off the back end. I'm overthinking. Okay. So by the time I sent her the second link, she said, "Girl, I already bought it. I already bought the first thing. I don't need to confuse the buyer." I get to have these reminders too. Money gets to come fast. It gets to come easy, and you don't need to confuse the buyer. She bought because she already had it spoke to where she's at in her story. She's already declared that she's going to make $250,000 this year. She's already declared that 33, she's going to work with 33 different, visionaries on some different things that she coaches on, right? So it told her story. So you want to put the buyer into the dominant where they're like coming to you. I think this works especially well for females. It doesn't have to be gender based, obviously, but you could also think of more like masculine sales strategies. If I do masculine sales strategies at the gallery, people are going to literally run out the front door. Maybe I shouldn't frame it as masculine sales strategies. I should frame it more as like some of the bro marketing that I've seen online. Because I'm thinking of a gallerist, Kevin, who was an amazing salesman, and he was definitely using uh, strategies that were less dominant. He was doing storytelling. He was having conversations with people. People love to have conversations, and they love it if you don't talk so much. They actually love it if you, one of my biggest sales strategies to sell for retreats in the past week was to stop talking and just close my mouth and let them tell me why they wanted to come to Italy with me. I just said, "Why would you like this? Why do you want this right now? Why would it be so great for you to have this? Why would this make your life more magical? And what's gonna happen?" This is like, I don't like to do a lot of fear mongering, but I do like to recognize a problem because that's generally why people pay you. They have a problem that they want to solve, whether it's a blank wall or whether it's, they want to create more abundance. So the other question is, what happens if you don't do this right now, or if you don't find this right now? Oh, well, then you're not going to have the perfect gift for the weekend thing that you're going to over Memorial Day. Or you're not going to find that right gift for your client. It's probably going to cost you a lot of time. What's the time cost if you don't find this gift? What's the time cost if you don't shift your money patterns right now? So I'm trying to speak to your different offers while I'm saying all this. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about, like more dominant sales versus being in more like a receptive mode for sales? How you can shift there?
I'd love to hear about it.
But I mean, I feel like I've elaborated on it, but I want to know from you guys if this is landing, like if this is like brought up any questions that you're unclear about what I'm talking about. If there's anything that I'm saying that you're like, what do you mean by this? Because I've been watching this interplay a lot. And by the way, I wasn't good at sales when I started selling when I was 15. I worked at a theater and then I became the top seller. I was horrible at sales. So I don't want to hear like, "Hilary, you are a natural salesperson." I was not a natural salesperson. I was not good at it.
So I really like that you said the words, do you want to take a peek? I would like to hear maybe some starter
Yeah, like okay, so
conversations.
I feel like this would be a good one to type into Chat GPT because Chat GPT is like going to do so much heavy lifting for us. But like the question that we could ask is like, how could we create a little bit of mystery around our work? So one that just off the top of my head, and I'm not sure if we've talked about this before, if you've seen this, but like when you have, okay, you're going to see the screensaver of my son. He wants me to take this off. He thinks this is like a ridiculous photo. But say you're putting an offer out there on your stories and you have a photo. Maybe it's an artwork. Maybe it's a new workshop coming out. One way to do it is to cover part of the photo with text and say, "Ooh, this is I'm having so much fun right now. I'm having so much fun creating this. This offer is dropping on this date. Do you want to be the first to know? Do you want a sneak peek?" So creating some mystery, like where they can't see the whole picture. You've probably seen people do this, like scribble out like part or like cover like part of what's there and then only reveal a piece of it. And it's like, this is the new piece I've been working on, or this is the new program I'm about to release. And you can be a little mysterious. So, a way that I created mystery in one of my posts is I said, I was talking about high value collaborations. You probably saw this. I said EMFPLZ. I named the first letter of all the people that were in. And people were like, who's that? Do I know them? Who's F? Do I know F? Do I know E? Maybe I want to get in the room just to see who these people are, you know? And so it's like just inviting them very playfully into the sales process. Now, I'm going to be honest, I'm not the kind of person, this stuff is just not popping to my head all day, every day. But once you start making the practice of being really creative with how you're putting your work out there and just really having fun with it, I think that's a prosperity code. I think creativity is a prosperity code because you get to start to play. We don't have to do stuff that we've seen other people doing. We can just say, okay, what would be really fun right now? What is the most fun thing that I've been doing all day? For me, on what day was it? Monday, I went out in nature and I did shamanic practices. And I took a picture of this big tree and I created a ritual around like manifesting. And like my husband's like, "What are you doing today?" He's like, "Hmm." He's like, "That's work?" I'm like, "Yeah." I just and I was working with the number four, and then I had four retreat signups come in. So it's just pretty wild. It's not wild, it's manifesting. But when we start to just play, and then I just did a post with that tree. It's like showing what I'm doing. So you can just ask yourself the question because sometimes we think that what we do is like normal. But I'd love to throw this question out to you guys because I'm talking a lot. What have you done in the last 24 hours that is just freaking interesting? Like you might think it's normal, but, and you don't have to answer this right now. I'm not going to put you on this spot, but if you have an answer, I'd love to hear it. What have you done in the last 24 hours that's just so freaking interesting? You might think it's normal though. So you might have to think about it a little bit, but I bet there's something that even in the past 2, 3 days that you've done that's super, super duper shocking or unusual that if you shared that with the world, if you're comfortable, please only share what you're comfortable sharing. That would like, there's a time when I probably would have not posted about the fact that I'm doing shamanic practices like out in nature and doing all this stuff. There was probably a time I wouldn't have really wanted to post about that or share that. But now I'm like so over it that I will just like post stuff like that. I'm not sensational sometimes. I notice a lot of people are very sensational online. Like you have to find your edge, just like you find your creative edge. Like find your creative edge with your content. Like what feels like your edge and like that's gonna really resonate with a lot of people. So does anybody have anything that like maybe a little unusual or interesting or shocking that you've been able to?
I do. I do this thing whenever
I'm gonna say,
I
I
know
know.
I laugh because I only started telling my manifesting course
Yeah,
this.
you're like, this is how you know it's shocking. You're not telling everybody. You're still kind of keeping it a secret. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so because I'm an entrepreneur, when I want to make money, more money, I literally balance all my accounts and then I write down only the deposits and I focus on deposits, 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 deposits. And I got 4 deposits yesterday.
Marie, this is such a prosperity code because
Yeah, and
what,
I teach that in my manifesting course.
yeah,
Like I make them do it right in the course. You know how people tell you and then you go do it.
yes.
So I make them literally bring their laptops in the course and I say, write down all the deposits in your course for the whole month. They're like, what do you mean? I said, don't worry about where they come from. Just write them all down and write them all down every month. And what you're going to focus on, deposit, 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 deposit. So that's like one of these things I do to
I love
bring
that.
in more money.
And do you tell, so that is like part of your
Don't tell
coaching,
people.
but I'm sure you could tell, I'm sure you could like put that into like a post and be like, what questions do you have for me? And then once people start asking you questions, you could be like, oh, I have something coming out to support you. Do you want details? And then they're like, what does she have coming out to support me? Like you have to really think of ways to kind of get them curious because what you want, Marie, is probably for a DM saying, how can I, jump into the next round of manifesting or how can I jump right into creators code? Which I think
Mhm.
this is a really good point around your creators code is that sometimes people aren't wanting your lower offer, they are wanting your higher offer, which is what happened to me the other day. She wasn't wanting my starter offer. She was wanting to jump into the 30 days. And so remember that too when you have like multiple offers.
Okay.
Ah, oh my gosh, I bought myself fresh flowers, deep cleaned my home and studio, and put the flowers in the eastmost corner. I love that.
And
Did you already share that online? Did you share anything like that? People love content like that because it's just gonna like it's really inspiring. I think a lot of times my artist clients are really here to create more beauty in the world and to create more light in the world. And so if we can invite more people into their light and then maybe you've got the beautiful flowers, you've got your deep clean your studio, and then they're like seeing like all the paintings like on the wall, And it can always be a soft sale. Like then the next post that you could do, you could start to talk about the paintings and when they're going to become available. So it doesn't always have to be like a hard sale. Sometimes my softer sales are the ones that really invite people more easily into my world. Ooh, a letter to a friend instant. It's Neil. Oh my God. And see, people don't do that anymore. Like people forget to do snail mail. They not everybody, but it's like I went to a newsstand, right? Like, I mean, LA still has some newsstands, but a lot of the magazine stands and stuff are going away. I did take a little content picture as I was there at the newsstand, but I haven't posted it yet. So it's always good to just like, if you have a moment, snap a pic of what you're up to and really like invite people into this soft, beautiful world that you have. And then the practical, tactical, figure out how to get those people on your mailing list. You can make offers to them because this is how we stay in business. Like we have to have a way to make offers to our people, or we won't have a sustainable business. And I'm really saying this as somebody who's had a business for 15 years from interior design, residential, commercial design, to I did blogging, to my creative and online business, which has been running for about seven years. I mean, my art practice has been running for much longer than that, but my online coaching business has been running for about 7 years. So if we want sustainability, which I know the online space and just the world in general is obsessed with quick wins, but it doesn't matter if you're having quick wins if your business is going to be over in like 2 months, But if you know you're like loving what you do and you want your business to continue to expand over the course of, years and years and years, um, and then you can do an exit or you can sell or you can do whatever you want. But you want to build something. You want to be always building, thinking how to build and expand. Okay. We
I have a
really
question.
dove into sales strategy, which was one of the four topics um, in the next few weeks. But then I'm going to put more of the training on next time because we talked so deeply about sales. Marie, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just have a question because when it comes the you were talking about pattern disrupt.
Yeah.
And when it's about teaching my courses, I'm great at pattern disruption, but when it's about putting it online, like marketing, that's where I'm still learning and growing.
Yeah, yeah,
So I wonder
definitely.
how you would do that. Like how do you,
How do you do it when you're like, what do wake up? You wake up and you're like, what do I post? Right?
yeah,
So this is why I'm trying to give you prompts like, what's something really interesting that you did? Like, and then you answered that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like a piece of content right there. And that's interesting to people. So generally, if something's like a bit shocking, that's interesting. If it's polarizing, that's interesting. If it's different than the last 10 posts that you saw, that's interesting. And if it also comes from the heart, super authentic, that's really interesting. A lot of healers and artists and light workers do this naturally. So you don't think your life is that interesting. You don't think your gifts are that special because you think it's normal. But if you actually look at the rest of the world, that's quite vibrant. It's quite different. It's quite not the normal. Like I don't turn on the news a lot and just like watch the, CBS or KTLA or whatever. I do read a lot of news because I like to stay up to date on world events. But if you want to know what the mainstream finds normal, you can just kind of turn on your TV. And then you can ask yourself the question, well, how am I different than this? And the contrast is going to become like immediately clear to you how you're different than the mainstream,
I see.
you know? So
Yeah,
let's talk about that. Like, what's one way that, and anybody can answer this, what's one way that you're not really like a basic kind of mainstream person? Does anybody have a value? So when we talk about brand values, does anybody have a value that's different than the mainstream? You can also say, what are your brand values? I could just ask you that question. You don't have to think about how you're different. Just what are your brand values? What do you stand for?
For me, this is definitely like a personality trait that has bled into my art, but like I am such a maximalist compliment giver. I will go over the top, compliment people almost aggressively, because I really want them to feel seen and loved and just
Oh,
like see how freaking
yes.
special they are.
Yes.
I'm like to the point where they almost get uncomfortable. And so that I think is something that so many people are reserved on because I don't know, like we, especially as women, were taught like there's only so much room in the world for other women being supported. So I am actively against that.
I love that. And think about how that's going to call in. I mean, this speaks so, I mean, I've gotten to know your brand really well, Emma. So when you said maximalist, well, then we go on your website and we see the colors. And then we go on your art and we see how colorful and vibrant it is. And then we go to your mission and your messaging and we see how your mission is to uplift and elevate and make people feel really special, right? You've talked about this. And so, then it's like, oh, that's not actually the norm. If you step outside of your house, people aren't actually all doing that, right? And so this is what makes Emma unique and special. And this is what's going to just magnetically draw people and collectors into Emma's world and people that want to work with her. And Emma, one thing I want to just bring up to you, because I know you're looking at your summer, right? And you're looking at the money that you want to bring in, that you want to call in, you know? And I'm wondering if you might play a little bit and kind of write down, and you can drop this into Telegram, you can do this for homework, write down some of your different offers that feel fun, that feel super playful, that feel super light. Because sometimes we have to surprise ourselves. Like, I thought one of my offers this summer was going to be people just painting with me on Fridays because I just felt like doing that. But then what I realized was I'm so into collaboration right now, and I've made so much money through collaborating. I really want to share with people how to do that and how to call in like thousands of dollars worth of collaborations. And so when I started talking about collaborations and people were just like so into it, that was like my signal from the universe. And then, interestingly enough, when I released the idea of having this group painting program, um, somebody in Brentwood reached out to me from my website and was like wanting a one-on-one, wanting to work with me really closely for 3 months. And so I was telling Fran about this package in our breakthrough session, but I gave her 3 tiers. You can work with me for this amount. Uh, it includes digital courses and some consults and stuff like this. Then I did a mid-tier offer and I said, here's what we can create here. And then I did a high-level offer and I sent it to her. And so sometimes the universe is like just like redirecting us in a different direction. And so the fun thing could be, and this is the right time in the mastermind to do it, is for any of you. I want to open this up to any of you, but drop some offers that are like exciting you into the Telegram because I'll give you feedback on your offers all week. You don't have to wait for a call. Like if you're like, oh my gosh, I want to bring in money like yesterday, like then that's when we have to start thinking about leads and offers, those two things. And Marie just appeared. I don't know if she had to, oh, she might have had to go because we went past the hour. Okay. So next week, I'm going to talk more about this more sustainable strategies for lead generation, like actual strategy to generate leads, and how I like to have passive traffic running to my website. I think that that's really, really smart since earlier in the mastermind, we all up leveled our websites. And that's how the lady in Brentwood reached out to me. She just went on my website and dug around. And then I sold a piece of art again because I drove traffic to my website. And then I also, somebody else reached out again. Oh, I just looked May 21st, 2 more email opt-ins from my website. They're just opting in. I have no idea. I'm going to write them and be like, hey, what are you interested in? Because I literally have so many offerings that I almost need an automated message going out. And I used to have this, but I used to have this before I changed to Flowdesk, but I used to have an automated message going out saying, are you interested in coaching? Are you an art collector? Are you interested in attending my retreats? Because then you can put them on a segment and you can keep in touch and keep in conversation with your clients and your collectors. So next week we're going to talk about like how to like drive more traffic to your offers, but let's just play with the offers that will bring us abundance now. Like what do you want to offer now? And let's start to go into that, like that soft sales strategy, since we just spent so much time talking about it, that soft, like mystery energy. And if you want, like if you do like a little mysterious post, drop it into Telegram. Because if I'm on or somebody else is on, we can engage. And that does help it go viral. Like if it's got engagement the first couple hours. So of course, if we see it, we'll comment or we'll support you. And also we'll get inspiration for our own, um, unique post that have our values in them and that really reflect our uniqueness. So I think this is a really good place to stop because I could probably go on talking like this for another hour.
I'd be okay
You'd
with
be like,
that.
it's a lot to soak in, right? Like it's a lot to like really, really take in. So does anybody have anything, comments, questions, things that are like, they're like, what's your takeaway? Oh, there's Marie. What's your takeaway or what are you going to do next? You tell me, what has this inspired you to, what action has this inspired in you? Welcome back, Marie. I thought you might have had to hop off, but I'm glad that you're able to. We're just like wrapping. And the question I said, because I've just been, throwing so much out today, is what action has this inspired you to take next from the conversation that we had today? And then I gave a little preview of next week where I'll talk about ways to drive traffic to your website, ways to drive leads onto your email list, So I just want to know from you all, like what feels like that next aligned step or that next aligned action after our sales strategy conversation today.
For me, um, it's really getting things complete, like getting my media kit complete,
Mhm.
using these
Right.
prompts that using those prompts that we just spoke about on my thing. And then I love the part about asking the question to prompt myself. What what is something interesting? So that's my
Yeah.
biggest
Yeah.
takeaway from this because that feels like it's going to connect the dots for me, you know?
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
sometimes like we think what we're doing is so normal and it's actually not. Like
Yeah. Yeah,
being,
because I never watch TV. I only put positive things while I'm working from home. And I'm like, maybe people don't know that, right? Like,
that would be interesting. People will
yeah,
literally be like, "Oh my gosh, you never watch TV?" You know?
yeah.
Like,
I put YouTube money stuff on my thing all day long, so
oh
it
my
goes to my
gosh.
subconscious while I work.
So this post really got an insane amount of comments. I posted in a group of 1 million people 2 years ago, Marie, and I wasn't watching the Super Bowl. Like, actually, I forgot it was on because I wasn't paying attention. I think my neighbors did have a Super Bowl party that like my son was over at, and so I was like, "I'll stop by later and see the halftime show or whatever," but I forgot. And then I posted something like, and actually remember as a kid being in school and not knowing, actually a babysitter came over to watch me because my parents were going out for the Super Bowl. But they didn't tell me, like I feel like my parents didn't tell me a lot of things. So I was always just like, what? What is this? What's going on? And like the kid that the babysitter that came over brought a little brother who was in my class, this kid named Nick. And Nick was like, Hilary, how do you not know what the Super Bowl is or even know that it's going on? It's like the biggest thing on the planet right now. And your parents are at a party for it. And I was like, well, they didn't tell me, you know? So, but that's like unique, right? So I did this post inside of this group, Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs, and I said, who's not watching the Super Bowl right now? Hands if you're not watching the Super Bowl. And like it was a little polarizing. I was like, hands if you could care less about it. Okay. That's polarizing. People really care about it. But guess who was all up in my comments? Every single person who doesn't care about the Super Bowl and doesn't watch it because they are like maybe they're painting something in their studio right now, or maybe they're like Marie and they've got the TV off and they just don't have it turned on. And so it's just like thinking about how you can like call out more of your people. I mean, the people that come on my retreats, they might watch the Super Bowl. So then people were like mad. They were like, what's wrong? Why don't you like watching the Super Bowl? And they were getting all upset, and that was giving a lot more comments. I don't try to be polarizing, but if you can be a little bit shocking, then that will, because then people are like, are you saying it's bad to watch? I'm like, no, I'm an artist. Like, I love the halftime performances, and I was an athlete, so I love sports, but I'm just like not watching it right now. So I wasn't like really ticking people off when I would respond to their comments, but it just created even more. Then somebody was like, I'm a light worker and I'm watching the Super Bowl. What do you have to say about that? So then people were getting like all kind of crazy with me. But what I was doing is I was like getting a ton of visibility and I was probably dropping an offer on my profile and people were going on my profile and seeing it. This was 2 years ago, but just to give like ideas. Okay, so I love your action, Marie. Emma or Fran, what action feels super aligned for you right now?
I just over this last weekend's art fair, I collected a lot of emails, and I've already followed up with all the people who are interested in the commission, and sent out like various single emails of like thanking them. But I'm going to put them in my email list, and then I'm going to do a blast of some offer that I'm going to choose. And I would love for you guys to help me choose that. And announcing my schedule for the summer as well. But
Like
just
your
I
different
haven't done a
events
blast
and all of
post.
that?
Yeah, I haven't done an email to all of my VIP people since my solo show in April. So yeah, it's time.
Those are huge. Those are amazing things. And then you've also got the content piece of, like a lifestyle piece or something that you can share either to your email or to your social media, which is,
Mhm.
yeah. Mhm. Cool. This sounds great. And I love that you're sharing it too, because when you guys share what you're doing, it can inspire others of us. Like we get inspiration, we get ideas too. Fran, what about you? What feels super aligned for you right now? Or
Um,
alive or aligned?
I have to say something that is
You?
maybe not super aligned.
Oh, okay.
And that is, I've been working on these um, pastel portraits,
Mhm.
and here, those ones
Mhm.
back there.
Okay.
And there's been a lot of interest, but there's this little part of me that's saving them
Hmm.
for my show.
Please don't
So,
do that. No, okay. I see this a lot with artists. I have another client that was like making 20 paintings, and she's like, I'm gonna make 20 paintings all year. And then I want to have
yeah,
them, or maybe it was 50, I forget the number, but I get that. Like, I
yeah,
totally get it. And as artists, we do that because we know
yeah,
that we have a show coming up. There's a couple different workarounds that you can do. It can work for you, in fact, if you're building like that suspense and then you're going to release it like a big fire hose, like a big blast and have a big blast of money. But I've
yeah,
also seen artists that say, but it's available now, or it's available now, you can buy it now, but it will be at the show. So what's going to happen is you're going to give it on loan or you're going to give it to them, but then they have to sign a document that they will get it back to you for the time of your show. And then what happens when you have a show and people walk in and there's a red sticker that it's sold and there's a red sticker that it's sold. That is sales psychology. When other people have bought your work, guess what?
yeah.
Now it's in
Okay,
demand.
now here's another part of that is that I want to send these ones to competition. And so will they may have to be available
For the
if
competition.
they're chosen. Yeah, if
That
they're
is
chosen
always
in.
interesting because there is some stickiness around like this piece that I just sold. It was part of a fundraiser for the Malibu fires, and I had to license something to them, some certain size prints or something. And so you do want to look into that, of course. At the last show I did, Emma says another artist had a list of all the pieces that had already sold. And if you need to deliver it before the show, you can get it photographed or scanned. Yeah, I always get mine scanned before I will deliver any originals that are sold and make a giclée print of it. Okay, I want to go back to you, Fran. I also want to say something very
Yes.
suspenseful and very mysterious that you did. And I don't even think that you know that you did it.
Okay, tell
Was
me yes.
everybody like this when Fran said, well, I'm going to say something that's not super, may not be super aligned right now. And then were you like on the edge of your seat? You're like, what is she gonna say? That's not what we're doing right now. So that's a perfect example of like a creating mystery by kind of going your own direction, but you're being real, you're being authentic. You're not even trying to do it. But I just want you to notice how that draws us in.
Interesting. Hmm.
Hmm. Guys, I have this painting that I've been working on forever, and I might make it available for sale, but it's also going to be part of this Chalk Pastel Society, and it's going to be in the show later. Do you think I should sell it? You know, like I can't decide. You guys know about the matcha mug, the guy who didn't want to sell me the clay matcha mug in Topanga. Emma knows. I don't have the matcha mug on my counter. I only have this other ceramic piece that used to house a candle, and now I'm using it for something. But it was such a beautiful matcha mug, and he didn't have any of his work priced, and his wife was selling it, and she's like, actually, these are these really special matcha mugs, and they do this and this and this, and they're like so amazing, and he loves them, and every morning he goes out with his matcha. And then what am I thinking? Well, oh, I'm going to make a ceremonial matcha every afternoon, and the mug is a special shape, and I could see myself making my afternoon matchas and just having this really special mug. Nothing was priced. I had no clue how I could buy it. I said, "Oh, what about this one? Is this for sale?" "Oh, no, I don't think he wants to sell that one." I said, "Okay. Well, what about this one over here? Can I buy this one?" He's not here right now, so I don't actually know. But this table over here with like the 6 mugs, I think he's open to selling those. And I'm like, well, how can I buy them? I'm like How can I buy them? It's a perfect example of soft sales. It's a perfect example of the buyer literally demanding to whip out their wallet and pay the person. It's a perfect example of speaking to their story. Did she know that I want to make a ceremonial matcha in the afternoon? I don't know. She probably didn't know that about me. She's also being authentic. But that's where the sales magic happens, is the authenticity of the story, inviting people into the experience, creating a little intrigue. So I want you to just like play with these strategies. Just playfulness is part of the expansion code. Okay. Fran, the resistance, I get it. You have to just decide. I think you just have to decide what's available now and decide what's for your show. And just decide like what feels really aligned for you.
I'm not sure. I think that I need to save them for the competition.
All of them?
Well, the I want to do a set of 3 pastels
Mhm.
of of Olivia blowing the bubbles.
Okay. So with our launches and our offers, we always have to have our offers kind of in flow. So I want you
Mm-hmm.
to think about your homework and I want you to drop this in the Telegram is like, what is available to buy right now?
Yeah.
If you told me at the beginning that you want to create more income. So what
Yes.
is available right now? What are you willing to sell right now? And then what are you selling later? And I do a launch calendar. And if anybody wants to see that, I can do a whole training on it, but I have my weeks mapped out. Sometimes they blur, sometimes they go 7 days over, 7 days under, but it's really important to understand what you're offering right now. And I do think that those pictures are getting such a buzz, but there's sometimes you might have to be a little strategic with your content to where you're sharing about that little here and there. But if you're not selling it right now, then I wouldn't talk about it. I wouldn't make that the main thing I'm talking about because then people getting interested now, but they can't buy it. And then you're going to have to recapture their interest later. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to be a little strategic with like what you're talking about and what's available. Still share that, still share, because I know that work is very alive to you right now. But I'm just saying that let's look at what else is available and think about how we can share about things that they can actually buy because I want to target the challenge of creating more in the moment if that's what feels aligned to you. Creating more abundance in the moment is what I'm saying. Does that sound aligned? Does that feel aligned, Fran?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, I'm just checking. Okay, cool. My dog is in here and she's scratching me. I think she's like, she got locked in the in here with me. I think she wants to get out. But okay, I think I heard from each of you what's feeling alive and aligned. I hope you guys enjoyed the full 90-minute session today. That was unexpected, but apparently we had a lot to chat about, a lot to say. What is the Flow company instead of Flow Desk? I'm kind of obsessed with Flow Desk. For artists too. I mean, I had MailChimp forever. It was a pain in the butt to move it over, but Flowdesk is like such beautifully designed templates that I just pop some stuff in and they have checkout pages so I can sell things, I can collect lead gen, I can do so many things, and it's very affordable. It's very competitive with MailChimp. I think I'm actually paying less with Flowdesk, and I have segmented lists. MailerLite is another option. Another cool thing, good, Emma, I like that one. Another cool thing that what Emma said made me think of is how when you go through, like Emma said, I added people to my list over the weekend. So you're really good, Emma, about building your list, collecting leads. We're going to talk about how to do that even more next week. But what happens is when you start to really dial into who these people are, you're like, oh my gosh, I have so much stuff I could offer them. Like I like went through my list. Like I said, I saw two people just opt in to my list yesterday. I have no idea what they want, why they've come into my world. My job is to figure that out this week. And the second thing is if you start going through your list and you start seeing all the people who've subscribed to you, and it can be even if you have a really small list, it's very interesting to really look at who those people are. And then you start to get ideas about what can I offer them because you know who they are. So if you're looking to do, just sell any of your different offers from your offer suite, you can really start to dial into who those people are. You can create offers just for them. It's fun. It's actually fun to do that. And you'll be surprised. You'll be like, oh my gosh, this person joined. Wow, I had no idea. So, okay, I think this is a really good place to close it out. The recording, I have to put high value collabs inside our school classroom. I need to put this inside the school classroom. So, everything will be in there. And then, of course, you'll be invited to the alchemy meditation sequence, which is kicking off on Monday. And you'll also receive a special offer if anybody feels like they just want to just vibe out this month and call in like thousands of dollars worth of collaborations. You'll receive a special rate on that. It is an additional program because it's quite a vortex container in itself. But if that feels like something you want to do, then I'll give you like like basically like a mastermind exclusive rate to join that. So that's what's coming up. And I'm super excited to dial more into the expansion code next week and just, see you guys in Telegram. Have a great rest of your day. Have an awesome
Thank you.
weekend. Bye. I love the little heart, Emma. Bye.